Hi everyone, this is Leah from Manuscript Manager and welcome to this tutorial where I'll be showing how to add a reviewer or an editorial board member to your database. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in as the Editorial Office. This role might also be called Editorial Assistant or Administrator. That brings me into the Administrative Dashboard where I'll go to Configure. And here in the Configure section, I'll go to Reviewers. Now, just to get you oriented on this page has 4 elements, the first of which is a box which just lists how many reviewers are in the database. You also have the option to export a file with that list. The second section allows you to select an a letter, which will then create a display below of the reviewers that have that letter as the first letter of their last name. And the third section allows you to choose a name for reviewer in your system. Some journals have a different name for this role. So those are the 4 basic elements on this page. Now, what's important to note also is this button right here. Normally when your journal gets set up for the first time, you will have sent us a list of your reviewers and your editorial board members to help import to your database. But after the fact, if you would like to change the status of a reviewer to an editorial board member, or in other words, review board member, or you would like to add a reviewer that has not previously been in your database, you would come into this Reviewers section and click Add Reviewer or Review Board Member. And by doing that, you're brought into this form where you can add the basic profile information for that person, which I'll go ahead and do right now. Now here I am at the bottom of the page, and I'd like you to just notice that there is a section where you can choose the status of this person that you've just added. Are they an ordinary reviewer or a review board member? Let's go ahead and let it stay at ordinary reviewer and click Save. So there you have it. We have added John Doe to the database. And if we'd like to just double check and confirm, we can do that in 2 ways. We could go to Search and Person and type Doe on the last name search, and sure enough, he shows up. Another way to do that, to confirm that he's actually in the database, would be to go to Configure and Reviewers again, and choose D, and then scrolling down on the page, make sure that he turns up on the list of reviewers with the last name that begins with D, and sure enough, he does. So there you have it. John Doe has been added to our database. Now let's say that at a later date, John Doe has reviewed quite a number of manuscripts for us, and we would like to change his status to review board member or editorial board member, according to what you call that for your journal. So we would access his profile either here through the Edit button, or by going to Search and searching on his last name and accessing the profile here. But in any case, let's go ahead in there. Whether you approach the profile from the one way or the other way, this is what you see when you come into the profile for John Doe. You always start on the left side with the personal information, that which we just added before. The only difference is that the radio buttons at the bottom of the page that allow you to denote editorial board member or reviewer are not here. So what you need to do if you change this reviewer's status to editorial board member at a later date is you need to go into the Permissions section. When I come into the Permissions section, you'll see that the first 2 sections are the relevant ones right now for us. The top section shows that this person currently has author permissions and reviewer permissions. Indeed, everyone that's added to the database has author permissions. And then the other permissions are added according to how we initially set them up. A little bit further down, however, we have the reviewer status. And in this section, we can change from ordinary reviewer for John Doe to editorial board or frequent reviewer. So we'll go ahead and click that radio button and then click Update. And it has been saved now, and now John Doe has been added as an editorial board member. Here I am back at the Reviewer tab page where I'm going to add one more person to the database, and this time we're going to add the person as a review board member. Okay, so here I've input Linda Evans's information, and at the bottom of the page I'm just going to click Review Board Member and save that information. Linda Evans has been added to the database. If we'd like to check that, we can do it in two different ways. We can go to Search and search on her last name, or we can go to Configure, Reviewers, click E, and make sure that she turns up on this list, which she does. Now, the second part of the test would be to check her permissions. Let's go into her profile. We can access it this way, or we can access by typing her name up here. We actually have two Evanses in our system, but it's Linda we need, so we'd like to edit that profile. And we'll go in and look at the permissions under Linda Evans and just make sure that that radio button click came all the way through. Indeed it did. There's normally no problem with this, but if you'd like to double check, you can do it in that way. So now I've brought you through adding a reviewer, changing the status of that reviewer at a later date to editorial board member, or adding a member to the database that from the very start is listed as a review board member. I hope this has been a helpful tutorial, and if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Have a good one. Bye-bye.